Hey everybody, welcome to RoxTalk episode 5, here with your hosts Brayden and Dawson Lee. We just got to watch the Rockies beat the Phillies last night, so we're excited to talk to you about Rockies baseball today. So it's been a week since we've last talked, and the Rockies have played some games. Dawson, catch them up if they've missed it. What's been going on with the Rockies? What's important for them to know?
Yeah, well, the big thing is the Rockies are 7-3 through their first 10 games of the season.
Big deal.
One of our best starts in franchise history. We're one of the top teams in baseball right now. Hopefully we can keep it going. Last week in Texas against the Rangers, Randall Grichuk had a game-saving home run robbery, 3-run home run robbery of Corey Seager. Alan Trejo got his opportunities Friday and Saturday and came through in a big way with 3-run home run, a couple RBI singles the game after. So, I mean, he had a big weekend for sure and made his presence felt on the big league roster this season. CJ Crone is one of the hottest guys in baseball right now.
The hottest guy in baseball.
Yeah, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. Just what a power guy. And then Rymack hit a home run on Saturday. Hopefully he can kind of get going. He's had a little bit of a slow start power-wise, so hopefully he can start hitting some bombs here soon.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch the Rockies. Unfortunately, we missed the series in Texas because we didn't go to Texas with them. And then because of the Easter weekend, we didn't go to Denver. We weren't in Denver for the Cubs series. So it was nice to be back at Coors last night, seeing the Rockies play the Phillies. It's been an important week. I mean, I think that Grichuk, that catch was a big deal. Suddenly, it just feels like there's big-time impact. Obviously, he hadn't hit a huge home run yet. He hadn't made he made a sliding catch. But it wasn't like there was real feeling of impact from him yet. I knew that there would be. But it was nice to see him make a game-saving catch because suddenly it's like, okay, Randall Grichuk is here. He's in Colorado. His presence is felt. And then last night has a huge hit, 2 RBI double, I think, in a big spot, gave us some insurance. So it was nice to see Grichuk's bat get going, seeing his glove active. He's a good player, and he's a great addition to our team.
Yeah, and his 2 RBI double last night was with 2 outs, too.
Right.
It was 2-0 ball game in the 7th inning, I think it was. So, I mean, to come through with 2 outs like that, that's a big spot, and came through, and I think the fans like him.
Yeah.
So
I like him.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan, and I think the fans do like him too. He's definitely one of those guys that makes an impact. Again, we knew he would, but it was nice to just see it actually happening beyond just the intangibles, actually seeing some RBIs on the board and a game-saving catch. Can't deny the impact.
Yeah.
So Alan Trejo, big game, 3-run home run, was awesome to see. And then obviously the subsequent day gets another start. I think he had 2 hits, a couple more ribbies. So he was playing well. And so Dawson and I were sitting, I think, on my grandparents' couch, but we were talking about Alan Trejo, talking about the shortstops in our organization. And I made the statement because I'm always the guy that's trying to cause dialogue and trying to see if we can get a conversation started, that maybe Trejo should be playing over Iglesias, which Dawson diametrically opposed. So let's just have a little bit of that dialogue now. My thought on Trejo is that he's a hot bat right now. He's been in the organization. I like to see him play. We know Jose's presence in the clubhouse and the dugout is important. And we also know that he makes an impact on the field. But is it a greater impact than Trejo? Do you think he should be playing over him still? Should Trejo be getting more time at least? I mean, like, where are you at with those things? Because I know we're not in complete agreement.
Yeah. Well, he shouldn't be starting over Iglesias. One of our best gloves in the infield, him and Rymack for sure. And Iglesias has had a 4-hit ball game already. He's a contact guy. He's an average guy, so he's hitting well. Had a double last night too. Brendan Rodgers, 3 for 35 or whatever it is. I mean, yeah, he has to get back into it by playing, but if Trejo has a hot bat right now and Iglesias is playing well too, Trejo can play second. He's played second before. I'd like to see him at second base tonight or tomorrow and just see what happens. Because, I mean, if he's the hot bat over Brendan Rodgers, we really shouldn't be playing Rodgers as much if he's striking out 15 times every 10 games.
So really you're saying you disagree with me, but you agree that Trejo should be in the lineup.
Yeah.
At least for now.
I just don't think over Iglesias. Yeah. I mean, he's a veteran guy, has playoff experience. Just, we were watching last night, just going around the infield during a pitching change, talking to everyone and really just like, hey, let's do this. I think it was runners on second and third. Just really building the guys up and talking to the pitcher, Elias Diaz, catcher and stuff. So, I mean, just that leadership out there on the field is so important. And not that Trejo doesn't have that, but being a young guy and I don't know how many games he's played in his career, but not much. It's just not quite the same. So I think him over Rogers would be good here in the next couple games, hopefully.
And I think the thing about baseball that some people don't realize is it doesn't mean that it's like indefinite. Like, hey, Trejo's starting 162 games now over Iglesias or over Rogers. It's just for a time, he may get more opportunities. He may get more at-bats. He's going to see more time in the field. And I really think right now, Rogers got the hit finally last night that I think hopefully just breaks it open, because you and I both know that Brandon Rogers can do damage. We both know that he makes an impact defensively and offensively, or he can. To this point this year, though, the first 10 games, we haven't seen that much yet. I'm really hoping that changes as we get into the rest of this series and into the Detroit series. I think it's time for him to just get going, and I hope that he does. But if he doesn't, I really hope we see Trejo get some more opportunities. And I like Alan Trejo a lot. So, again, when I find a player that I like, I think I get biased toward them. But I like him a lot. So Crone, CJ Crone. So we've known CJ Crone has power. I think if you've ever watched baseball, you know that CJ Crone has pop. He's been an impact bat for us last year, but this year just raking. And this has been the thing for me, right? It's not like home run, strikeout, 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 home run, strikeout, strikeout, home run, which we've seen not necessarily from Crone, but from other power hitters in our lineups in the past. We watched last night and we watched previously. Crone will hit a bomb onto the concourse almost, just an absolute shot, and then work the next at-bat and send one into right field for a base hit.
Yep.
Last night we saw him, wasn't hitting home runs, but he had a great at-bat, sent one over. I mean, there's impact that Crone is making from the batter's box that goes beyond just power. However, it is nice to see him take 5 home runs out in the first 10 games, and it's been a big deal. How do you feel? I'm just curious, this is off the cuff, but how do you feel about his defense versus Connor Joe's defense at first? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you like either one of them better at first? Do you think Crone should be more DH feeling than Joe? I'm just curious your thoughts.
I think it's good for them both to just kind of rotate, because CJ Crone has really been a DH with Detroit and the Twins. So he's had that experience already.
And he's comfortable in that spot.
Yeah, and Connor Joe's proven that he's pretty comfortable with it too, DHing, I think, like half of the games this year. Yeah. But last year, CJ had to play first base because there was no universal DH, and he really improved his defense over the course of the season and even the offseason, because it wasn't a thing until 2 months ago or whatever. I liked CJ Crone at first more just because he's a bigger body. He's like 6'4" or whatever, where Connor Joe is probably like 6 foot. So, I mean, there is that height on,
makes a difference.
Like a high throw or something. It's just a bigger target. But we also saw last week where Connor Joe probably made a couple plays that Crone wouldn't have made because he had to run over the first and showed a little more speed than CJ Crone would have had. But he went home on a long pitch last night. So
and almost got... If JT had it ball with it, he probably would have been
CJ Crone's got wheels. So
you heard it here first. Crone Zone now has wheels.
Yeah.
So that's been cool to see. The other player that we've talked about is Rymac. We both love Ryan McMahon. It's great to see him launch one out. And it wasn't just like barely. I mean, it was pretty much a no-doubter. It was a shot. What else is it going to take for him to get going? It's not that he's been slumping. We just haven't maybe seen the power or the impact from the batter's box that I guess I was maybe anticipating from this year.
Yeah. Well, he's hitting .219, which isn't great, but I mean, it's not bad. He has a .324 on base percentage. He's also got hit like 4 times. But, I've noticed that he is working at bats. He's laying off pitches that he used to be swinging at his first couple of years in the league, striking out, but he's laying off those tough pitches, working at bats, working walks, and he is getting hits, just the power hasn't been there yet. So hopefully that bomb on Sunday will, get him going, and then hopefully we can get Chris going and some of these other guys. So
yeah. While we're talking about Chris Bryant, can you give him a little bit of an update on what's going on there?
Yeah, so he got kind of hurt on Saturday, and then told Buddy during the game that he could keep going, but he was like, nope, let's stop right there. We had a 7-run lead.
Which is smart.
Pulled him in the 6th. Yeah, which is smart. He DH'd Sunday, and then was out of the lineup last night against the Phillies. We'll see what happens today. Hopefully he's in. I think it was just a rest day, honestly, because he's doing pretty good from what I've heard. So hopefully he's back in there in the lineup. Probably see Connor Joe as the DH, I'm guessing, or maybe Chuck, who knows. But yeah, hopefully Chris is good, and we need his power to get going too.
Yeah, so no real need for concern then with Chris Bryant at this point. So you mentioned Chuck. Charlie Blackmon, the first couple games of the year, Dawson and I kind of looked at each other like, uh-oh, this isn't looking that great. Yeah. And I think, honestly, through the first 10 or the first 9 maybe, people had started to write him off. I saw our friend Drew Creaseman put a tweet on for all those who thought, essentially saying, for all those who thought Charlie was washed or toast, look at you now. And the reason is, last night he hit a shot, big-time home run, gets him going a little bit. How are you feeling about Chuck this season?
I don't know. He struggled last year, and it's kind of the same this year. He had a few home runs last year. I'm hoping he can be more consistent this year, and the past couple games have showed that. He's had a couple multi-hit games, and then the power's there already, he did not have many home runs at all last year.
It was missing. Last year was different than
yeah.
Last year was a significant decline in power.
Yeah, and I feel like when he gets hot, the team, there's just something different about the team. They get hot, they get excited.
So he's one of those guys.
That guy, yeah. So
one of those guys.
And the fans love him, so it gets the crowd into it, and it was really good to see last night, and I think someone here at the table called it like before the game or something, but yeah.
He did. Dawson, we were walking into the stadium and we were just talking about what we were thinking, any predictions for the day, and Doss said, I think Charlie's going deep today. And I just kind of laughed. I honestly didn't think he was. And then we were sitting there and Doss literally nudged me. I think it was like 2 batters before Chuck was up, and you were like, Chuck's going deep. And he did, which was huge because it was a well-pitched game, 0-0. Then we go up 1-0 and ultimately win the game. Let's talk about the pitching, because it was a little bit of a pitcher's duel last night. Aaron Nola put up a fight against Chad Kuhl, his first start at Coors Field, and I was really impressed with Chad Kuhl.
Oh, yeah, I was too. And to be honest, I wasn't really expecting that. When a guy comes to pitch his first start as a Rocky at Coors Field, I think he's pitched before at Coors Field.
But you're right, as a Rocky.
But to throw 6 scoreless innings, only giving up 2 hits with 4 strikeouts, he only walked 1. With only like 74 pitches too. He came out for the 7th, and then something happened with his hip flexor, so hopefully he's okay. But just a dominant pitching performance against a tough lineup.
Yeah.
In the Phillies.
So, it's not a pushover lineup at all.
Yeah, struck out Bryce Harper twice, reigning the NL MVP.
Yep.
So it was really good to watch. He looked really good, and he was passionate. He was showing it, getting excited, and that's good to see.
Yeah.
So
he was calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch him too. In his previous start, so he had the blister in the first start, and then hip flexor this time. I hope the injuries don't become a recurring theme for him. I'm hoping that they won't, because coming out of our 5 spot, Drew Creaseman, we refer to him a lot because he has become a good friend and somebody that covers the Rockies well. If you don't follow him, I really recommend that you do. He said that he would either be a solid 5 spot for us or a real vulnerability. To this point, he's been the solid spot. The vulnerability has been our 4 spot. Yeah. Austin Gomber, who I'm pretty high on, I really like, has struggled to this point in the season. What do you think's going on there? What's up?
I don't really know, because he had a good year last year. But baseball is just, it's baseball. You struggle, you do good. Same with Chuck. It's the same with pitchers though. He's just really struggling to throw strikes. Like on Sunday, felt like every batter that came up, it was a 2-0, 3-1 count. And then, even if you didn't walk a guy, when you're in a hitter's count, that's when someone drives one, or, they just get hits. And then Kyle Freeland's really not been great either. He has like a 10 ERA. He's really struggling, the same as Gomber. So we need our lefties to get going. Mm-hmm. Our righties are solid right now. Yeah. Kyle's on the mound tonight. Hopefully
he's going to do well.
Yeah.
Could have a good game tonight.
Have a great game and get going, because, they're both great pitchers. Mm-hmm. Real solid. So hopefully, like we said, it's baseball, so they can get out of it for sure.
And it's the best and the worst thing about our game, because you can have a player that shouldn't be doing good or shouldn't show up in a big spot and make an impact and whatever, become a household name. I mean, we've seen that before where somebody that nobody knows about comes in, makes a splash in a big spot. And then you've seen guys like Freeland and Gomber, who maybe aren't as on the national radar as I personally think they should be, but certainly in the Denver and Rockies fan, NL West type area, Kyle Freeland and Austin Gomber both Gomber had a good year last year. I feel like Freeland still is going to have a good year this year, and Gomber, but you're right. We need those lefty arms to get going, because those are important.
Yep.
Our righties have been solid. So continuing on our pitching, our bullpen, which has, again, historically been the area that makes me cringe the most. Even when we talked to Drew Creaseman the week before opening day, that was the big question, was will the bullpen be good this year? And looking at our bullpen, I wasn't just really excited. I mean, we've seen some of those guys throw, and it's like, okay, they're solid. Colome coming in, we were like, okay, maybe there's an opportunity for something there. But our pen has been stellar.
Yeah. And, I mean, one thing just real quick, too, is Alex Colome came in last night, got his first save as a Rocky. So that was good to see.
Yeah.
And it was stress-free, just one base runner. A lot of times we have, we're up by 2, bases loaded, 1 out or whatever, So I'm glad it was just stress-free, and it was good to see just have a solid ninth. So, yeah, that was awesome. But our bullpen's just been insane. I'm just looking at the stats here, and our highest ERA out of a reliever right now is 4 from Ulysses Chacin, and he's really been one
solid.
Of our big guys.
Yeah. He's ate quite a few innings, right? What's he at, 5 or 6 right now?
Yeah, 6 and a third. So, and he's had some big moments too.
Last night was huge.
Yeah, last night was huge. He was pitching when Grichuk robbed the home run. Just really and it wasn't that he was pitching bad to give up the home run. Good hitters are gonna hit well in Corey Seager.
Yeah.
So, last night though, huge double play, comes in with 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. We're like, please just limit the damage. Gets a line drive right back to him, catches it, throws to second, gets a double play, yelling, all pumped up.
Got me pumped.
Yeah.
Dawson and I were both standing and pumping our fists.
Awesome. Yeah. So our bullpen's just been dominant, and our late inning guys too. It's just awesome. Carlos Esteban has struggled last night.
Yeah.
If he can get going,
his command to me, it's been the command, right? He just doesn't look comfortable on the bump right now.
Yep. He just looks a little shaky, to be honest. And if he can get good, he's a good pitcher. We've seen it, and he doesn't even have a strikeout this year, I don't think. So he'll get going, but our late inning guys are great, which we don't see a whole lot as Rockies fans. So it's really fun to see, and every time there's a call to the bullpen, we're not pulling our beards and all
stressed. Because usually we are. It's oh Lord, the bullpen.
Yeah, now we're like, yes, Alex Coleman is coming in. Yes, Ty Block's coming in.
Yeah.
Just everyone.
Even Tyler Kinley, who I've given a really bad time to over the last couple of years, because I've really struggled with him. I've been like, he's not the guy. This year, barring opening day, he's been really good.
Yeah, he's off to a great start. So hopefully he can keep that up for sure.
It's the beard.
Yeah. No more mustache.
No. Our pen has been good. If you are not watching Rockies baseball, my goodness, you're missing out. There's so much good stuff happening. This is an exciting year. We've said this from the get-go. It's an exciting year to be a Rockies fan, and things are just getting started. In the games that we have lost, in the games where we've struggled, Dawson and I were talking on the way to Denver yesterday. It's been runners in scoring position that have absolutely killed us. It hasn't been the bullpen. It's been leaving guys on base in scoring position that's made us want to rip our hair out.
Yeah.
So talk to me more about that, the missed opportunities, and then, talk to me about anything surrounding that issue, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's been a big impact for sure. I think even the games we've won by 2 or 3, we should have won by 6. We're leaving guys on 1st and 3rd, no outs, bases loaded, 1 out, only getting 1 run. And when you look at our lineup, we should not be leaving these guys in scoring position. So that's why I'm kind of looking forward to tonight after our last at bat with runners in scoring position. Grichuk came through with 2 outs.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
2 RBI double. Yeah. But it was our struggle last year too. So I think we'll be fine because our lineup is there. Every single guy can come through in a big spot. But it's been our struggle. Like Sunday, we really should have won, but we just had those missed opportunities and then lost by 2 or 3. So
yeah. Okay, and again, it's one of those things where it is baseball. You're not always going to bring people in when there's a guy on second and third or when there's a guy on third, but it is tough to watch when you've got first and third no outs.
Yeah,
and you'll leave everybody stranded. I mean, it's to when you're going to win games, when you're going to win a lot of games. There's situations you got to come through, and it's not just in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. It's in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd inning, which sometimes I have a tendency to be like, oh, it's okay. We've got plenty of time left, plenty of baseball to play. Well, that's true. You've said it a lot. We got to jump on teams early. And in the games that we've won and the games that have been stress-free for us, for the most part, it's been early jumps.
Yeah.
Big hitting, big spots, good pitching. And then we're like, okay, good. We can chill and just eat some Rocky dogs or whatever. So that's important. It's been a big deal. It's going to continue to be a big deal. So talk to me about your keys to the Philly series and then the Detroit series coming up.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely just that, runners in scoring position. And, it's some people get mad when we get a 2-out double by like Jose Iglesias or just whoever, and then we leave him on.
Yeah.
It is tough to get 2 straight 2-out hits or 3 if he walks or something, Yeah. So I don't really worry about that too much because, it's just hard to get back-to-back hits even off of some of these tough pitchers.
Baseball's not an easy game.
Yeah, but when you get 1st and 3rd or a leadoff double, you got to do your job, move him over, get a sac fly, anything to just get the runs. And we have seen that from us this year where we scored without even getting a hit, some sac flies. So I think we'll be good, but that's my keys to the series for sure. And then I think we've still only given up like 5 home runs this whole season. So I think limiting the power is another key. Bullpen and starters, obviously, especially with the Phillies, Bryce Harper, Castellanos, Schwarber, Realmuto. There's just Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah.
There's so many.
A lot of power in that line.
Yeah, and then the Tigers, we're going to Detroit. We have a little road trip this weekend and next week. But 3 against Detroit this weekend. And, they've got some pop, too, now. Spencer Torkelson's a rookie sensation right now.
Yeah.
Hitting some bombs. Javi Baez, you know what he's done. Miguel Cabrera.
Could get his 3,000th hit, right?
Yeah, which I'm kind of hoping he does just to get the Rockies in, like, a big moment, even though it's not us, have us there, So maybe it's, like, a weird hit where it's, like, real slow, and I don't know. But instead of, like, a home run.
3,000 hits, though.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And he's on pace to get it against us, I think, unless he has a great couple games.
I think I agree with you for sure. When I look at the keys to the game, it's obviously I want to see our pitching continue to be solid. We've had relatively good outings from our starters, and then our pen has been phenomenal. I'd love to see that continue. I want to see Ty Block on the bump again because I really like him. I'm a fan. I also think, like you said, that hitting with runners in position is important. I kind of lean toward almost saying small ball or doing your job is the key. I think last night, did Chuck lay down a bunt to move Connor over last night in the 1st inning? Weren't able to capitalize on that, but that's the type of stuff I like to see. And I know that's not the fans' favorite, but if you've been listening to our podcast, I don't really care as much about if that makes you want to come to the game. I know the MLB does and other people do, but I like the small ball. I like the traditional pieces of the game. And for us, if we're going to continue to win, it's not always going to be laser shows. We're going to have to be able to do our job. And I think our team is in a place where they're willing to do that. When you see a guy like Chuck, who is kind of our star, maybe he's not our best player, so to speak, but he's a fan favorite. He's loved. Bunts in the 1st inning and then goes deep in the 7th.
Yeah.
If you're able to do that kind of stuff and from top to bottom, if our lineup is willing to say, hey, I don't need to be the guy right now. I can move somebody over and trust that maybe in the 7th inning, my chance to be the guy will come. I think it's going to put us in great spots to win. So that's my key. I think we'll continue to do it. I think Buddy's doing a great job with our team this year. I've liked the way he's been managing. Again, as always, I'm excited about Rockies baseball. Any final thoughts before we let them go today?
I don't think so. Just we'll be there tonight and tomorrow afternoon. So, hopefully we can just keep this up 7-3 through 10 games. That's a solid start. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we keep it up. And the guys are excited and they're playing well, and it shows. So you can see it when you're live.
You can
just
see
tell
it.
a difference.
You definitely can. Drop any questions or thoughts below. We're glad to answer those questions for you, or any topics that you'd like us to cover in next week's podcast. We'll be glad to do that. Thanks again for tuning in to RoxTalk. We sure appreciate it. As always, go Rocks.
Yep, go Rockies.